Hey guys, Shew here, founder of Crypto Consulting Institute, and I'm here with Steve, who is the founder of Stress Dads, and he's actually a client or been a client of CCI's in the past. And not just any client, Steve has actually been one of our most successful clients out there to date, particularly with his trading capabilities coming on and absolutely destroying the markets, and then being able to move out and develop and create other businesses. He's got an incredibly successful gym that he's been able to start off the back of it, and now he's been able to launch or getting to the stages now of launching Stress Dads, which we'll talk more about in this session today. Steve, it's an honor to have you here, and it's an honor to be able to see your journey and your growth and the success that you've been able to create and what you're developing now. I'm really a big believer in the project, and any parent watching this will be as well. So yeah, great to have you here, mate.
Mate, thank you very much for the intro. It's an honor to be here. As you said, I originated from CCI. That's how I got into this whole space, and I've done a lot of work with yourself and the team to get to where I am. I probably wouldn't be sitting here without you guys. So it's a testament, for what you guys teach, that I've been able to move forward with absolutely everything in my life and be pretty successful at it. So, mate, it's an honor to be
Nice.
here.
And before we jump into Stress Dads, it would be good for people watching this to know a bit more about your background in terms of the businesses that you operated and the success that you've had, because as I approach and analyze any opportunity in crypto or outside of crypto, the first thing that I want to know is a bit more about the depth of the founder who is behind the project, because if you've got the right person at the top, then everything else will fall into place nicely. So give us a bit of insight in your business background, maybe even touch on some of the military stuff, because I think that's probably a huge asset.
Yeah.
If you have that military mindset, then you're unstoppable with anything that you apply yourself to.
No, absolutely. So I did 10, nearly 11 years in the Defence Force in the Royal Australian Navy. I was a clearance diver in the Royal Australian Navy during my time. I joined very, very young. I just always had this ambition to serve my country and be a soldier. Absolutely loved it. I wouldn't say lucky enough, because I worked my butt off to get there, but I went through the 2nd Commando Regiment reinforcement training to work at what's called the Tactical Assault Group as a clearance diver. So I spent the last 3 years of my career in Special Forces inside 2nd Commando Regiment. Man, it was an absolute blast. I absolutely loved my career. So I've had exposure to everything from, planning and leading missions, problem solving on any scale, fast, big and small, which is something that's demanded of you when you're in those positions, especially when you're diving or shooting or, explosives are in play. It's you get very, very good at being very, very methodical and being able to assimilate information and problem solve. So those skills that I learned in the forces set me up for a very, very successful career post defense. Once I got out, I became a father straight away. It was not long after I got out. It was a couple of months after I got out. I became a father, and I was actually able to transition my, I would say my OCD skills from the Special Forces to being a dad, from nappies, bottles, burping, sleep. It was kind of like the sleeplessness didn't really affect me that much because I was working so much anyway. So I just transitioned, across a lot of, habits into that, which helped me, become an amazing father as well. And from there, mate, I got out and I purchased a business in Brisbane. It was a gym. I've always loved the fitness industry, something I've been very passionate about for a long time. I did very well in that. And I also started up a cryotherapy business. Now, both of those expanded very fast and very rapidly. I was treating the NRL teams in Australia. For those watching that aren't from Australia, NRL is our National Rugby League, like a standard of NFL to a degree. Now, that was gaining so much traction so fast from the performance and professionalism that I'd showed to the CEOs of those football teams and their performance managers. And unfortunately for me, and it's unfortunate that it was nothing I guess any of us could do, but COVID hit. Now, like anyone in the business industry across the world, everyone was hit hard. The gym shut, the cryotherapy business shut, and I just got to the position where, as a businessman, I was like, you know what? I just have these cards in front of me. Which way do I pivot? I wasn't going to sit there and be like, oh, my business is suffering, because of external variables. You make a decision as a leader, and you push forward and you charge with it. So I made the decision to sell both of those and consolidate, work on something that I could, that was going to generate me money in that current climate globally? And the answer was financial markets. So I went from there and started studying at the Australian Investment Education on the Gold Coast. They taught me fundamentals and technicals and a little bit of quantitative analysis on traditional markets, derivatives, and options contracts. Once I finished my initial course, I went on to the advanced options course and got heavily into options contracts without actually owning the underlying asset. So that taught me, a lot more skills about volatility and options. The Greeks, and for everyone watching that knows options, calculating them manually can be a big headache at times. So it taught me all the a basic understanding of financial markets, which then, like anything based with money, forced me into I would say a slight bit of economics, things like fractional reserve banking and the legacy system, and understanding money, really the concept of money, how it works, what it does. And once that curtain comes down and you see what's behind the curtain, you kind of go, wow, like how did I not know this before? So it was great. I was doing really well in the markets. Again, I was sitting back going, I'm not going to be a victim here. I'm going to do what I can from home, which all of us were locked in under lockdowns, and because nobody knew what COVID was going to be. And then from there, I realized I was never going to hit my personal financial goals. Like, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I mean, I've always told myself I'll be a billionaire one day, which is what I intend to get to. But I realized that traditional markets and the liquidity size that I was playing with, it was going to take a very, very long time. This isn't the gold rush, and it's not, we're in a society now where opportunities are hard and you got to work harder for them. So I found your advert on Facebook, and I didn't know anything about cryptocurrencies, and then started to look, a little bit further into crypto, what it is, what it does, watched some documentaries, did some research, obviously had the phone call with yourself, joined up with CCI, and mate, pretty much once I got my head in and understood the concept of blockchain and what Bitcoin is as an asset and what it solves globally, it was just a no-brainer. So I went all in. I sold my home, I had liquidity from my businesses, and I just I applied myself through and through to get to where I am. So
yeah, it's fantastic, mate. And I think I remember having that first call with you and you weren't sure. And because I've been in the game for so long, I know that when someone sits in front of me with the right capabilities, I know what their potential is. And it was clear for me what you were going to fulfill, and you did. And it wasn't a surprise to me. And I don't think it was a surprise to you, maybe in hindsight, of how far you went, how quickly you got there. Because of your military background, your nature to execute and trade, and remove the emotion, but you had a lot of growth and a lot of development, and it's just incredible, mate. And that's why you're also supporting us now and giving us insight, and our elite members as well. So it's really, really cool, mate.
Yeah, mate.
So why don't, oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, the biggest thing from that was my confidence. I think being in such an alpha-dominated environment for so many years in the forces, and even in my first few businesses, when you have let's say a business partner or another director, or in my case, a senior officer telling you what to do and how to do it, you may have some really, really good innovative ideas or initiative, and sometimes that gets shot down and you kind of doubt yourself. Whereas, in this current market, and like Stress Dads or anything that I've built now, it's all on me. It's my thought process, it's my design, it's my creativeness, it's my ambition to be successful and to help others that's driving the success. I'm not relying upon anyone. Which is a testament to, what I solved back then, those confidence issues. Now I rely on myself and I believe in myself to actually go out and, that's why I believe Stress Dads is going to be super successful, because I embody it and I believe in it 100%.
So why don't you tell us a bit more about Stress Dads, because I love the concept behind it, and I'm sure a lot of people watching will as well. So give us an outline of what it is to start with.
Yeah, so Stress Dads, the basic what is it? It's an NFT project, 5,000 NFTs. They're 5,000 Stress Dads. Now the dads, the artwork, I've gone over and over and over in my head. We're trying to design something that had this kind of, I would say, similar face to other things. So it kind of looks like a little bit like an American Dad and a character that people may have seen before, but with with this concept that you know, I think this side there's a detective dad and there's this other guy with the mohawk. We design these dads that people can relate to. Now, like what it is like people, you see these things on marketplace, and there might be a rock or a banana or, you know, monkeys. There's the apes. There's all this sort of stuff, and I just thought like who, nobody's made a product yet that I can go, you know, what is this, and actually get a clear outline of like, oh, these guys are dads. They've made dads and they're trying to help dads. Like just encumber something that everybody can sort of bond to. Everybody has a father, or maybe had a father, maybe has a brother or a sister that has father or kids, or, you know, there's just this multifaceted thing that people can connect to. So Stress Dads is this NFT project that is trying to help people globally from a charity perspective, help fathers and provide a professional place for them to get advice from actual like qualified professionals. That's what we intend to do. And give people a safe space and a non-judgmental space. You know, if they're struggling with the kids and they're like, I need some help, you know, they can come to Stress Dads and they have a platform to go and vent and get advice. It's this, I've always wanted to help people, me being a single father myself. And yeah, I just tried to design something that was very, very different. Nobody was sort of doing. And we encumbered not only the charity side of this project and the relatableness, you know, across the globe with fathers, but I saw so many dads, you know, stressed men through the bear market, just not performing the best, or even in the bull market, there was people just going, oh, you know, stressing, I missed out on this and this. And I thought, well, I know I'm successful and I believe in myself, especially in financial markets now, and I have a team behind me that do as well, and especially working with you guys, that why not encumber, you know, that product as not so much of as a service, but a design of an NFT project that when the money, like when we mint out, that money is held in treasury and it goes out and outperforms the market to actually strengthen the business. So we can actually give more back to other people. So it's a multifaceted design.
Yeah. So I was going to say, let me just take people on a quick journey and really simplify it down. So at the top, you invest in an NFT, which is an awesome image of a stressed dad. And from there, having that ownership therefore gives you access to the amazing community that Steve's going to be designing, where he'll bring in experts that can help on psychology and different things to give that unique community. I think communities are such an important thing now that we're missing a lot, and especially it doesn't seem, and we're culturally changing a lot now, but dads are generally a lot more reserved and they bottle their challenges up and they just get on and deal with it because I'm so strong and mighty, I can deal with it and it's weak to speak kind of mentality, where that's really now starting to shift and people are seeing the value in having those emotional conversations and having that support group around you of like-minded people that want to help each other and help themselves in the process. So that's the real benefit of holding and purchasing the NFT. But then on the back side, there's going to be an investment scope to it as well. So why don't you dig a bit more into what that unlocks for them from an investment perspective and just give people a bit more clarity on that, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. So one more little thing to touch before I touch on the money side of the NFTs is we want to host in real life events from the money raised from the mint, and that's where those professional speakers will be. So if you own an NFT, you will have free access to that event paid by the company. And then we're going to sell tickets for people that don't hold an NFT to create more revenue for the business to strengthen the protocol long term. We're trying to work different avenues to bring on fiat currency and revenue for the company to then be able to strengthen the protocol and develop and go further, so the NFT value themselves increases over time. So that's just one thing. But yeah, the monetary side, the treasury, we have a set balance that we'd like to deploy in the treasury once we mint out all 3 stages. That balance will then be taken out with a team of professionals and outperformed on the market, myself being one of them. Regardless whether it's a bear market or a bull market, you know, we have access to so many things that again, certain people don't have access to, like I would say just retail participants, you know, like an enterprise account on Glassnode worth upwards north of up to 20 grand. I've got these professional subscriptions now as a professional investor that give me so much data that they don't have access to, but they will have access to that via our team inside the Discord if they hold one of the NFTs. So that's one of the things, the trading side of it. I'm not going to talk about the strategies and the things that I use personally to go and outperform the market, but the same strategies that I use for my own personal profile and I've used in the past to be successful and things I've learned from you and other institutes, I'll deploy and do absolutely my best ability to outperform this market and create return on investment. Now that return on investment is divided into certain percentages, some of which goes back to building the next NFT launch, whether that be creative art, design, or developers if we need to do anything new and we get innovative, like whether that be a token in the long term or a wallet or whatever we're planning on doing. Money is given to charity, so straight away we have 3 charities on the dashboard for the NFT holders. They connect their wallet and they can vote on those charities. That money is delivered to those charities. I'd prefer in person so people know it's actually happening. I can go and meet the founders of those charities, organize events. It's something, we don't just want this whole thing to be virtual. We'd like it to actually have a real world impact. So that's another part of the monetary thing that gets sent. And then the rest, as the treasury builds over time, the percentage of those profits is actually going to be charitably sent back to the NFT holders. So if you're one of those NFT holders, it doesn't matter if you hold 1 or you hold 10,000. Sorry, not 10,000, it's only 5,000, but it doesn't matter if you hold 1 or 1,000, I should say. Whatever gets delivered back to those NFT holders is divided by the 5,000, and then each NFT can claim the rewards in USDC on our custom claim contract built on Avalanche. So just to save in gas fees, it's something unique, and I'm not sure there's anyone else doing it in this sort of multifaceted way, but we do have a few other things that we're working on. The white paper will drop shortly and those things will come out in the white paper. But I've actually found a way, I believe, to go out and onboard retail, I'll say retail, or people that don't have a MetaMask or a certain wallet. They might not even know what Ethereum is. They might not be in the crypto game, but they believe in Stress Ads and what we're trying to do, and they like some of the artwork because they think it's cool. Well, the company will be able to actually go out and collect the revenue via invoicing and actually deliver those NFTs to them as a service. So it's all listed in the white paper coming up, and I think it's a pretty awesome idea, and we think we've worked out a way to do it that way. We can onboard ambassadors and keep growing and getting exposure, and we're not limited to just people that use crypto.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important thing. A lot of people, I remember early 2021, people coming up to me asking about NFTs and digital horse race and all these different things. And I was like, do you know much about crypto? And they're like, what's that? And it was just mind-blowing how people knew so much about NFTs, but nothing about crypto. And it's just the hype and the mania, I guess, that gets shared around on social media channels as to what people get influenced by. But it's great to have that ability to connect into crypto and non-crypto markets. But the overarching purpose and the driver is to help dads grow and link up and connect with one another and improve being a dad and being a great person, because there's a lot of challenges in the markets, not financial markets, but just global markets. And that causes a certain impact upon people's psychological behavior and how they therefore act in their external environment with their kids around as well. So it's a great cause. And we can touch on a bit more about why in a second, because I feel like why is the most important driver behind all of it. So I do just want to clarify. So you're purchasing the NFT. As you purchase the NFT, you get into the community, and then from part of that investment, it flows down into these different areas where you can donate to charity, where you can have some for a crypto fund, some goes to events and other cool things, and the fund gets traded by yourself and the team in the background, and those profits will get redistributed to the NFT holders, which increases the value of the NFT that you're holding. And that's where and the USDC unlock sounds like that's part of the process as well. Would that almost be like a dividend model?
Yeah, essentially. So my main purpose my main financial goals will be to generate revenue from fiat and investing to deliver rewards to the NFT holders. So they'll receive rewards hopefully at the end of every month. That's the plan. And if you hold the NFT, you just go to the claim contract on the dashboard and you hit claim, and the USDC gets dropped in your wallet. Now that is my priority, to give rewards out to the NFT holders that support us. But also my focus is going to be building the models so strongly that the underlying value of the NFT goes up. I don't want them to hit OpenSea all the time and, you know, people just selling and trying to flip them and whatever. Like, that they can do that, and that's fine, because there'll be a, you know, a royalties based thing on the secondary market, which again will strengthen the protocol. But how do I get, if you mint a stressed ad for 0.1, 0.2, or 0.3, depending on the stage, how do I get that NFT worth, you know, 1 ETH? You know, the treasury has to go up, so the floor price goes up. And obviously the price of certain NFTs is determined by the user and, you know, what they think it's worth. But the business as a whole needs to run like a good business. Not a lot of the Ponzi things you see in crypto these days. It needs to be run with proper management, proper structure. That way we can build the business totally, and the underlying asset goes up over time, and those rewards still come in. So it's a I would say, the word again, multifaceted way of generating income for
which I think is and that's such an important aspect of a business now, to have multiple revenue streams, that if one is having a challenge, then at least you're going to continue to create through the other channels. So why don't you tell us a bit more about the potential risks? Because I think as an investor, it's great to understand the concept and why they should be getting into something, but what are the potential risks that you foresee, and what people as investors need to be aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the risks that could be involved, like any NFT project, are one, we don't mint out. We say we mint stage 1 and we don't get halfway through stage 2, and then all these NFTs start to flood back on the resale market cheaper than what they bought them for, because they think the protocol's not going to be successful, and you're going to lose value in, you know, or lose your return on whatever you just paid to actually mint one of those NFTs. So there is that threat, and a lot of people will, with like 5,000 NFTs in the middle of a bear market, be like, how are you going to do this? I've listed in the white paper under the executions phase of exactly the strategies I'm going to take if we don't do that. So if it happens and, you know, we sit flat and we don't really get through halfway of the mint, we've got percentages based off the value that comes in at that time of how I deploy those funds in the most practical and useful way to make sure that this protocol is successful, whether that be me taking them to market and doing what I need to do. It may take a little bit longer than usual, so people may think the protocol has gone dead, or it's, you know, didn't mint out, it's blah 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 blah, and, you know, you get all this FUD and negativity online. But ultimately those funds will be placed into the market and performed on quite confidently by myself, and eventually the treasury balance grows over time, and it may be a month, it may be 6 months, maybe 12 months, you know, until this market really flips. But at some point the treasury balance of stressed ads is going to go up, and from there it'll mean that there's essentially, let's say we mint 1,000 and there's 4,000 left that we don't get to. Eventually the treasury balance will grow to such a balance that those 4,000 that are left would essentially have rewards waiting for them. If somebody goes and buys it, they might actually have the same value in rewards sitting there on the custom claim contract. So yeah, we've got strategies in place for that. That obviously is a risk, like anything, not minting out. There's a lot of big projects that haven't minted out. You know, it's the risk we're willing to run, and we just got to create the strategies to try and negate that.
It's important that you've thought through the process of what happens and what you're going to do if that's the case. And what about, is there any limitations on how many NFT purchases one person can make? Is there any sort of cap, or what if someone came in and purchased 1,000? Is there any risk of that happening? And if so, what does that mean?
Look, there is no cap on it for a reason, because if we're in the middle of a bull market, we could whitelist really, really strictly and have 5,000 spots and that's it. Given we're in the middle of a bear market and, you know, interest rates are still going to go up and we don't know what's going to happen, we can just try and predict it. We haven't put a cap on it. Ultimately, myself and my why that we'll talk about soon, I would love 5,000 dads to buy one each. That's like, that would be a dream, to have 5,000 strong men to come in and talk. And you don't have to be a guy. Anyone can buy these, right? Absolutely anyone. I'll make that clear. But you can buy them for your dad, your sister, whoever. But to have 5,000 different people in the community, all engaging because they've got one, that for me is a sign of strength, especially amongst each other. And the amount of advice and the amount of knowledge from 5,000 people far trumps me having, let's say, theoretically 10 guys that buy 500 each. It's not, you know, I want to help 5,000 people, but at the same time, I understand, you know, the nature of business and how the protocol needs to be successful. So if one person comes along and buys theoretically $100,000, $200,000 worth of dads, you know, that's not going to be a bad thing in my eyes, because we are going to do more Stress Dad launches. And I'll be the first to say it on here, but if you've watched this far, we're actually developing Stress Mums. So Stress Mum is we haven't forgot about the mums. It's something I want to bring a female ambassador on board for, a strong female ambassador, and really push the Stress Mums. And yeah, we'll grow in time. But again, it's like, I want to help people. You know, I don't want to limit it to 100 people. I want to help people, like thousands of people. So whichever way.
Let's talk about the why, the driver behind it, because I think it's where the magic comes from. What I have seen is people often get into business to make money, and that's their singular focus. And I've seen that. I know people personally, and I've seen what their mindset is around it, and I've seen them fail. And the reason they fail is because they give up, because when the money's not there, they're just like, okay, I'm just going to go and do something else, because they don't care about what the purpose is and who they're trying to help, or if they're trying to help anyone but themselves. Where I've seen, for me, I think we've had so much success at CCI because I care so much about helping people, very similar to you, and that's probably why we connect so well. So tell us a bit more about Stress Dads and what the driver is behind it. You've touched on a bit, I guess, of your journey so far, but please share, mate.
So yeah, a really high level look. I raised myself from about 10 till I was about 12, until my nan and pop found out what was happening in my situation. Yeah, they took me in. So I lived with my nan and pop for a long period of time growing up as a young man. My grandfather took me to work. He made me work in a bakery. He made me, you know, all hours of the morning before school. He made me work stocking supermarket shelves at night. This is when I was 12 years old, and then getting up at 4 in the morning to clean the local tavern for 2 hours before school. So my pop taught me this, you know, absolutely crazy work ethic. And when I enlisted in the forces, you know, I went away and I worked like an animal as well, and it's how I was able to pass what I was able to pass, what 99% of the people on this planet couldn't. With the training, I just I developed something that I realized I had a really good mental mindset and a mental attitude towards. As I became a father, I started to see these other men, and it was hard to see some of them struggling, and it was hard to see a lot of young guys as well, just not being able to use their skills or not have the right mental attitude to want to better their lives, like whether it be a confidence issue or they've grown up the wrong way. I just my little girl is my everything. Everything I do is for her. Like, the childhood I had versus the childhood I want her to have and my grandchildren to have is just so different. And I just found this drive and this passion once I realized my why in life, which was to be an amazing father. Something I wish my dad had done a lot, you know, better job at. But fortunately for me, my grandfather picked it up and taught me a lot of skills. So I've had this this deep longing and deep sense to want to help other people potentially achieve something that I've achieved. You know, and I consider myself not much, and that's just the positive, what do you call it, positive reinforcement or scrutinism or whatever. I place a lot of pressure on myself, and I'm not where I want to be yet, but I know I can show other men, and I know I can show other guys that, you know, if you focus on certain things in your life, like your why, like you need to align your why with your values and your beliefs. Once you get that, like once you really understand and really realize what's important in your life, it becomes this driving force that you get
Unstoppable.
goosebumps over. It's just I know so many guys that could just be amazing dads, or I've seen guys with their kids and their friends and stuff, and I'm just like, man, your kids love you, and you just not there, not present. You know what I mean? Like I see it, and I'm just like, man, if you could only really look at your kids and just realize what matters in life. Like for me, it just comes and goes. It is what it is. But when you really focus on what matters and your why, you're unstoppable. Doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve. It'll just propel you so fast and so hard that,
Yeah.
and people see it, and it's addictive. People see it. They see, like they see you for it. You can look through, you can see someone and call bullshit. I'll say that any time of the day. But when you see someone and you meet someone that is so energetic and perfectly aligned with what they're doing, it's vibrational, and you just go, wow, like this dude is just flying. So yeah,
Absolutely.
there is a big purpose behind it. I just
Yeah,
feel
I was just gonna add to what you said to really reinforce the point. I think a lot of people are parents, but there's being a parent and then there's being a present parent. And I think the reason that most parents aren't present is because of financial stresses or relationship challenges and all these breakdowns that we have. So yeah, I think partly with what you're doing, helping people to build their finances is a great aspect of what you're doing at Stress Dads, as well as the community and offering that support as well. And I think very briefly to touch on, because it's not about me here, but I think about my journey as a son to now being a parent and watching my dad had a stroke. He had a stroke at the age of 40. I was 12 at the time. And I had to watch him learn how to walk again because he was working 3 jobs trying to get ends to meet. And he wasn't a present dad. He wasn't physically present, but when he wasn't there either. And that's why I built CCI. That's my driving force behind it, because I don't want other people to go through those financial challenges. And I see crypto as the best tool to enable that. So
oh,
yeah,
mate,
it's amazing. It's
like
amazing the leverage that you can get off of past experiences if you choose to leverage them in the right way. They're this force of energy that's just impenetrable. So it's really cool.
the one moment, and I'm happy to explain this here. The one moment that it reinforced absolutely everything that I was doing, and I knew I was on the right track with where I was going in my life and my why was. My grandfather unfortunately passed away last year, and whilst he was sick, I moved them up north to be near my uncles and aunties, so that way when he did pass, my grandmother would be looked after. Because I've obviously got my little girl here, and you know, it was just more beneficial. Now, when we got up there, I had already been in the crypto realm, and I was doing really, really well, and I had some really massive success. I hadn't told my family about this yet, and I was sitting in the hospital with my pop and my nan, and he was in the bed. He just had some bloods or something done, and he was saying, "Oh, son," so what he calls me, he's like, "Oh, son, we've got to sell the Astra and we've got to sell the Prado, these 2 old cars, and we don't really know what we're going to do because the wheelchair doesn't fit in the back for him because he had acute myeloid leukemia." So yeah, he was like, the wheelchair's not going to fit in the back. Fuel's terrible on the Prado. Your nan can't get in out. She's got arthritis in her knees. And mate, I sat there in that room and I was like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I just said, you know what, Pop? I was like, the nurse is going to look after you. I'm like, you're going to have a sleep after your sandwiches in a minute anyway. I was like, I'm taking Nan shopping. And he goes, what do you mean you're taking your Nan shopping? And I said to him, I looked him right in the eyes. I said, do you remember I told you I was going to do well. I was going to make X amount of money. And he just looked at me and said, yeah. I said, well, I did it. I did it last week. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, he literally said, he goes, I don't know where you got this ambition and I don't know what you've done. He said, but we couldn't be any prouder as your grandparents. Like, and I said, let's go, Nan, let's go shopping. I drove my nan into town. This is in Townsville in Australia. I drove my nan into town. We walked into Hyundai, stood in the car parking lot, and I just looked at her and I said, what do you want? And she started crying her eyes out. And I just like, I've never felt anything like, I vibrated like so hard energetically. I was just in charge with emotion, and to see my nan cry and just go around the car yard, the price was irrelevant. And again, it wasn't about money. It was about what I was able to achieve with my sense of why and what I'm doing in my life to support my family. And I can help like men understand that and feel that same emotion. I hope that they can have the same success. There's no reason they can't. There's no reason in my mind anyone on this planet can't have what they want. They've just got to find a way to work it out and align with it. And mate, seeing her drive off in her little new car, like just, you've never seen anything so innocent, and I've never felt so much unconditional love. Like they were so proud. And I'd only learned, I had a big D&M with my pop not long after that about the fact that he took on 2 more jobs just to feed me when they took me in, because I was a little animal just eating and training and surfing. And, like, I didn't realize that. And you don't realize the things that you sacrifice as a parent, mum or dad. It's, to know all that and to learn all that, and then to be able to stand there and do that for them was something that I hope I can do my best at this and help other people be able to be in the same position and do it, because you have just never felt such joy in your life until you help other people. I know it is a financial thing, and it was purchasing a car, but it was the fact that the wheelchair didn't fit, the fact that he was sick, and there were so many things. To be able to just step in and do that, mate, so empowering, just so empowering.
Absolutely. And I guess a big thing for me recently was I flew my dad when we were on our European tour, which we got back yesterday, I think. I flew him to Barcelona, and we drove with him all through the south of France into Nice. And it was just so magical to be able to be like, Dad, come over, like, let me treat you to everything. And and it's such a big driver as to why you're doing it. But the thing that fills me more now is, and it's why you're on this train as well, because I think something must have clicked for you at some point, maybe through CCI, but it sounds like before. I feel like if you're in the health and fitness space, which I started my first personal training company at 17, and I loved helping people. I was a chubby teenager, and then I went mad on the gym, and I just felt incredible. And so I used to help young teenagers go through that transition as well, and it was just magical for me. But yeah, it's going down that route of helping other people create wealth in CCI. I feel like you've got that spark of when you see someone else, like for you, being able to help you in the crypto space and enable that, and you've done the work, we've just given you the guidance. It's now seeing what can be created through the right intentions, and it's just magical. There's no dollar value that you can put behind the feeling that someone like myself gets when we see other people like you and all the masterminds and everyone else create that success and grow, and be able to distribute that then to others, because you have to grow on that journey, and as you grow, then everyone else around you gets the benefit of that as well. So it's such the connection of growth through helping a few people can be astronomical. So really excited to see what Stress Dad brings.
And I intend to be completely vulnerable with anyone in the community, in the Stress Dads community, and especially when we do in real life events, tell my story. And I think that's part of the unpackaging the package, I would say, is being vulnerable. There's just so many men that are bound up, and unfortunately, for me, I've lost a lot of mates in the forces from suicide, and whether they had PTSD or whatever was happening in their lives, they just felt like they couldn't talk. Now that, these are guys that I operated with and I work with every day, dived, and you rely on them to rely on you to save your life if something happens, shark, bullet, whatever. And for these guys, one in particular I'd spoken to a week, maybe 2 weeks before it happened. You know, he left behind his wife and 2 kids or 3 kids, and I was like, fuck. I just spoke to him, like, why? You know, why is there just this stigma? Why have dads got nowhere to go? And yeah,
Yeah.
here we are, mate. I'm trying to do something. You know, it'll evolve over time into God knows what, and I'm happy to let it do that. But at some point, you know, people have got to stand up and try and make a change. So
Yeah, I remember like I used to run a lot of in-person events for CCI, and I would always talk about my why, like why I'm doing this, because I don't think most people look at you and they think, oh, you're just here to make money. And if you don't have a lot of money, it's hard to connect the dots to say, oh, when you get to a certain level, you just want to help other people. And not everyone's like that, but a lot of people generally, when you make money, you want to do something for other people. Especially if you've had some sort of experience in your lifetime. And I remember standing in these events with rooms full of people, and I'd just be crying. And people are like sitting there thinking, I come to a crypto event, what the fuck's this guy up to? But that's probably why we've been so successful, because it's so raw. And it's absolutely why you'll have so much success as well,
yeah,
because you're so raw and people see you as this macho military guy, but you're still a pure soul deep down in there, and
yeah.
you're happy to share and expose that. And I think people have a lot of appreciation for people that do that. So
And you know,
yeah, it's awesome.
anyone in real life that sees me with my baby girl is just like,
Yeah, I'm the same.
they see the bond, and it's just
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's amazing.
and it's so special. And you know, if I can help other dads become better, you know, I'm not a professional anything, but I just I have this passion just to want to help. And if I can use my business and intellectual capabilities to be able to go out and put something together that's successful, that somebody hasn't tried before, and you know, and people
Mm,
get behind it, well, then that's my job, you know, halfway there. The rest is me being vulnerable and leading by example and showing guys, you know, you can be vulnerable and you can be an amazing dad. You can really still be a big, tough, strong dad too. There's nothing wrong with that. But
mm.
you know, there's times where you just need to be a gentle giant for your kids. You know, you go out and so theoretically go out and work and save the world and get covered in fire, and then come home and let the kids crawl over you. Like, it's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's something special, mate. Fatherhood for me has changed my life. So
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think the reinforcement behind the need to grow financially as well, like I think for myself, how much time I get to spend with my family, which once upon a time I was working in 12-hour days, 5, sometimes 6 days a week in finance, thinking that I was crushing it. But if I had a kid then, I wouldn't have been able to see them at all. So growing financially has enabled me to be present with them pretty much as I want. And I think that's just such an important thing to be in charge financially, so that you can be present with your kids, rather than I'm here with my kids but I'm stressing about my mortgage or whatever else is going on in the background.
yeah.
And why don't we tap into a bit of the how? So how do people get involved? Because I know the launch is coming up soon. So where do they go to find out a bit more about it? And also actually invest if they are considering purchasing some of the cool NFT art that you've got.
Yeah, so pretty much our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, it's just at Stress Dads. They're all the same. It's you can go there, click on the links to the website. Once you're on the website, there's links to the Discord everywhere. There's I think it's called the roadmap, or it says docs. On the docs page, there'll be a link to the Medium article. It'll take you straight there, and you'll have the white paper, which I'm releasing in a couple of days. We're just waiting for our PR, one of our ambassadors, PR agencies, to give us the tick of approval to let it fly. And then yeah, that'll be released, outlining absolutely everything from strategies and everything I'm transparent about in the business. So go to the website, click on the links, read the documents. Our mint date is November 30. We had to delay it just due to one of our marketing ad accounts got held up for a little bit. So we pushed it to November 30. That's the hard mint date. Stage 1 is 1,000 stress dads at 0.1 ETH. Stage 2 is 2,000 at 0.2, and stage 3 is 2,000 at 0.3. Now, it's designed like that. It is some people may say, oh, you know, it's a quite a lot of money per stress dad as it elevates, but it's designed for it's designed for the first comers. So the people that are in the Discord now, the dads that are talking and they're commenting on the dad's garage and putting their favorite cars in there, and there's the dad's gym and they're giving gym advice. This is happening right now, right? I love it. It's building and building, and we've got a dad's cooking channel and guys are throwing their homemade meals in. It's like someone created a dad's lawn channel and they're throwing their freshly mowed
lawn porn.
It's like, I love it. It's so good, and it's I can't wait for it to pick up further. But yeah, it's designed that, like, I know it's a bear market, right? So why shouldn't the people that come in first, I would say essentially have access to the mint at 0.1. So as it goes up over time and it starts to mint out the people that come late, they'll pay a little bit more in the premium for a dad. But again, in the white paper, I've explained the strategies as to what we will do through stage 1 and 2 to make sure we mint stage 3 eventually. If we don't get there, I have every strategy thought of already that I'm going to implement to get it there and get it successful. So
yeah, nice. So stressdads.io is the main website that you have that people can jump on. Otherwise, go onto the socials. And anything else that you want to share before we finish up, mate? Obviously, we'll drop some links in below the video as well to access and learn a bit more. But anything else that you want to share with anyone that's watched this all the way through, and anyone that has, send you a high five. I think it's a great recording. And
I would just finalize by saying it doesn't matter if you're a dad, a son, a wife, a sister, an auntie, maybe you've got a brother. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyone can get in on this and become, essentially a stressed dad. I'm happy to have anyone in our community that may be reaching out for help for others, or, anyone. Like I said, we want to develop stress moms. So it's, if you think you've got something to bring, or you think you have nothing to bring, just come in, because I guarantee you will. There's a channel for dad jokes, it's a community that's non-judgmental, and you can come and say anything or ask for any advice, and any of us will give you our best opinion. So if you're thinking of joining the community or minting a stress dad, jump into the Discord, have a chat with us, reach out to me personally. I'm in there every day. And I intend to change the meaning of an NFT project and what we can actually do in real life, not just on chain, in real life, the events, the ambassadors, the reach that we can have, and the events that we can have that are helping people. That's the goal. So
I look forward to coming to one, mate.
Mate, I've got some good speakers in my head already that I'm intending to pitch to. We've just got to jump through the hurdles of our first few ambassadors, and then hopefully we get some traction, and then we can use that as essentially as some leverage to hop across, and we'll build, mate. And I guarantee you there's a flashpoint at some point in the future that we're here, we're there, we're on a show, someone big's grabbed us, and it's just all hands on deck and away we go.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and congrats again on all your success and all the effort and energy that you're channeling into helping others and doing the right thing in the time that we've got on this planet. So really good cause, really cool artwork, and really good concept behind it. So I look forward to seeing how it goes and supporting you along the journey, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in, everyone watching as well.
Thanks. Ta.